Okay, let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. Standing in front of a closet that's absolutely packed, just bursting with clothes, and you still think, I have nothing to wear. It's really frustrating, isn't it? Surprisingly common, too.
Oh, definitely.
Well, today we're going to dive deep into something that could genuinely change that.
Yeah.
Building a frugal capsule wardrobe. We've looked through quite a bit of material articles, research, your notes on simplifying closets, the whole fast fashion thing, minimalist styling, all of it. And our mission for this deep dive is, well, it's to pull out the really useful stuff for you. We want to show you how you can streamline your style, get some time back in your morning, save space, a lot of space, actually, and crucially, keep more cash in your wallet.
Yeah, that nothing to wear feeling is so, so real. And what's interesting, right, is that having a full closet doesn't mean you have more options. Often it's the opposite. It leads to that decision fatigue we were talking about, just feeling overwhelmed before the day even starts.
Exactly.
So this deep dive, it isn't about depriving yourself, not at all. It's more about crafting a wardrobe that actually genuinely works for your life instead of, the other way around.
Okay, so let's get into it. A lot of the sources suggest there are, 8 key steps, pretty clear, actionable steps to build this functional, frugal capsule wardrobe. And the first one, it might surprise people. It's actually not about the clothes themselves initially. The sources say step 1 is really defining your style, sure, but maybe even more importantly, your actual day-to-day lifestyle needs. So asking yourself honestly, what do I really wear in a typical week? Not the fantasy life version, but the real deal.
Exactly. And that honesty is key. You have to be ruthless with yourself here. It's counterintuitive maybe, but so many people try to dress for a life they wish they had, not the one they're living right now. Like if your days are mostly, say, school runs, working from home, maybe some casual weekend stuff, you probably don't need 5 blazers.
Right.
Or, a dozen cocktail dresses. The real insight is just recognizing and embracing your actual daily uniform, whatever that looks like. And when you do figure that out, lean into those timeless styles, not the super trendy stuff that's out next season. Longevity is, it's crucial for being frugal.
Okay, so we've gotten real about our actual lives. Before we even think about buying anything new, what's the next kind of foundational piece?
That brings us neatly to step 2. Choosing a color palette. This is where, honestly, a lot of the magic happens for making things versatile.
The magic, okay.
Yeah. The strategy is pretty practical. Start with some solid neutral base colors.
Right.
Think, black, white, navy, maybe gray or beige. Your workhorses.
Mm-hmm.
Then you pick just 2, maybe 3 accent colors, things you really love, colors you feel good wearing. And the huge benefit here is that it pretty much guarantees everything mixes and matches easily. Gives you way more outfit combinations without needing tons of clothes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It really cuts down on that morning, what do I wear stress, that decision fatigue you mentioned.
That idea of less decision fatigue is really appealing. Okay, so we have our lifestyle, our colors. Now, before adding anything, step 3 seems critical. Shopping your own closet first.
Oh, totally. It's amazing what you might already have hidden away. Maybe that perfect black blazer is just lurking in the back, or those classic dark jeans you forgot about.
Yeah.
You mentioned wanting to be more intentional, and this is pure intention. The key thing is try everything on. If it fits well right now, makes you feel great, and you genuinely love wearing it, then it's a keeper for the capsule. Be really honest about those maybe someday, or just in case items, though.
Okay, so we're sorting through, trying things on. When we're deciding what makes the cut, what kinds of pieces should we prioritize?
Yeah.
Step 4 is about sticking to key wardrobe staples, right? My big takeaway from the reading was this idea that the goal isn't like 100 items. It's more like the right 15 to 30 really versatile pieces.
That is such a crucial point. Quality over quantity, it sounds like a cliche, I know. But it's genuinely core to being frugal long term. Sometimes spending a bit more upfront on fewer but better made items that can actually save you money. Think about Postpo wear, A really well-made t-shirt might be $50 but lasts for years versus a $10 fast fashion one that's misshapen after 5 washes.
Right.
So when we talk quality, look for durable fabrics. Good cottons, linen, maybe merino wool, things that breathe and wear well. Check the seams, the construction. That shows it's built to last. And for specific items, things like a crisp white tee, classic dark jeans, a good cardigan that goes with everything, comfy sneakers you actually wear, maybe a simple dress or jumpsuit you can dress up or down. Those are great starting points.
Okay, so we've defined, we've paleted, we've shopped our closet, focused on staples, but inevitably you might still have a few gaps. So step 5.
Yeah.
Filling those gaps, but frugally. That's the key word.
Yes, frugal is definitely the key. And this is where knowing your options really helps. The sources point to some real gold mines for finding things without breaking the bank. Think good thrift stores, seriously. Some are amazing. Clothing swaps with friends can be great too. And online resale sites like Poshmark or ThreadUp or whatever.
Right.
But, and this is really important, you absolutely must set a budget before you start looking and have a specific list of what you actually need based on those gaps you found.
Stick to the list.
Stick to the list. It stops impulse buys. It keeps reinforcing that quality over quantity idea. Every new thing should be thoughtful, needed.
Okay, good discipline. So once we've curated, maybe added a few necessary pieces,
Yeah.
then comes step 6, the potentially tough part, decluttering and donating the rest. The advice seems to be ruthless. If it doesn't fit right now, isn't flattering, or just doesn't work for your actual life,
Yeah.
that's got to go. I know this is where people get stuck.
Oh, it absolutely is the hardest part for many. I remember doing this and having what I called my, what was I thinking, pile. Letting it go felt so good, though. So liberating. A really practical tip from the materials is the 3-pile method. Keep maybe and donate sell. For that maybe pile, this is the clever bit. Box it up, seal the box. Write a date on it, maybe 3 months from now. If you haven't even thought about opening that box by that date, it's a pretty clear sign you don't need it. Donate it, sell it, gone.
That's smart. Takes the immediate emotion out of it.
Exactly. Gives you clarity.
Okay, so we've done the hard work of clearing out. Now, how do we keep this streamlined wardrobe feeling fresh, not boring, through the year? Step 7 suggests rotating seasonally.
Yeah, and this is simpler than it sounds, but really effective. It stops the closet getting cluttered again and just prevents wardrobe boredom. Basically, every few months, you just swap things around based on the weather. You pack away the heavy winter sweaters and boots when spring comes, bring out the linens and sandals.
Throw the off-season stuff somewhere else.
Right, out of sight, out of mind, kind of. It honestly makes your closet feel new again, twice a year without actually buying anything.
I like that. And finally, step 8. This one's my personal favorite rule, I think, for maintaining the capsule wardrobe.
Yeah.
The one in, one out rule. Because I'm definitely guilty of letting things slowly creep back in otherwise. This rule seems like a real game changer for preventing that.
It is. It's so simple, but incredibly powerful for maintaining balance. The rule is just what it sounds like. If you buy something new, one item already in your wardrobe has to go out immediately. It forces you to be really conscious. Is this new thing really better or more needed than something I already own? It makes you intentional. And it just stops that slow creep back towards having an overwhelming, overcrowded closet. It protects the balance you worked so hard for.
Okay, that's a fantastic final step. So just to quickly recap those 8 steps we've sort of walked through here. 1, define your real style and lifestyle needs. 2, choose that cohesive color palette. 3, shop your own closet first, take inventory. 4, focus on quality staples.
Right.
5, fill any gaps frugally with a list and budget. 6, declutter ruthlessly. Maybe use that 3-pile method.
The maybe box.
7, rotate seasonally to keep things fresh. And 8, live by the one in, one out rule.
Exactly. And, stepping back, what's the bigger picture here? What's the deeper meaning? The sources really emphasize this isn't about deprivation. It's actually about gaining freedom.
Freedom. How so?
Well, freedom from that endless cycle of fast fashion, for one. Freedom from the daily stress, that mental clutter of deciding what to wear. And maybe, most importantly, freedom from wasting money on clothes you don't actually need or wear or even really love that much. It's about living more intentionally.
That shift in perspective is powerful. It's not about less, it's about better.
Precisely.
And here's maybe the most compelling thought to leave people with. Once you actually build this kind of intentional wardrobe, you'll likely find it's not just about saving money or time, though it does that. It's about feeling a sense of ease, maybe even confidence, every single day when you get dressed.
That's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
Yeah. So after diving into all this, what's maybe one step that really stands out to you? Or maybe what's an old idea about closets, this challenges for you, and what new idea are you most keen to try?